Greetings my friends, how are you doing? This is Zed from Zed Outdoors and I hope you're having an awesome day. So I'm in the south of England in the county of Sussex, just outside the city of Brighton, with a buddy of mine, Steve Lessay, who runs a bushcraft and outdoors traditional skills training company called Axe and Paddle. Steve, how are you doing?
Good man, good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah. Well, this is part 2 of a 2-part series I'm done with Steve when I'm down here visiting for the day. Part 1, what we've done, we looked at a setup, a traditional kind of trappers, bushcraft kind of setup, outdoors setup that Steve Lessay has made predominantly by hand and that he takes outdoors with him predominantly when he's canoe camping and canoe tripping. If you haven't seen that video already, I'm going to put a link below to that video, and it was a great walkthrough in terms of all the kind of skills that were used to make a very traditional style of setup. Now what we're doing in this part 2, in this kind of same workshop that we filmed the previous video in, is we're actually going to do a walkthrough, a very casual walkthrough, all the myriad of things that Steve Lessay has made, all the things that he does. If you're not familiar with Steve and his work, he's a full-time outdoors traditional skills stroke bushcraft practitioner and also an instructor, and he does this on a full-time basis for many years. He's very well respected at what he does. He teaches around the country, he teaches abroad as well, and he also exhibits at a lot of the big gatherings and festivals that happen throughout the UK. So what we're going to do in this video is, with Steve's kind permission, we're going to start off in one corner of his workshop and work our way through. Now we'll give you a heads up in advance. There is a lot that Steve does. There's a lot, and I mean it in a really positive.
Mess as well.
Yeah, but I mean it in a positive way that you're going to start seeing for yourself that we've just spent half the day prior to filming these videos today, just talking through, looking at all the myriad of things that Steve has got.
One shelf, though.
Yeah, and that was just one shelf. We haven't even made a scratch into kind of like everything else he has going on. So a lot of the stuff you're going to be seeing for the first time, as well as myself as well, filming it. So I'm really excited to kind of be doing this. So Steve, with your kind permission, I think we'll get started in one corner of the workshop.
Yeah, let's have a mooch around.
And then work our way through. That's good with you?
Yeah, all good.
Excellent stuff. So guys, hope you enjoy the rest of this video where Steve Lessay is going to give you a tour of his workshop. So Steve, we're starting at the door here.
This is where the mess starts. That doesn't go on too far. So I used to skate loads and surf loads, not so much now. I still skate a bit. So these are some of my skateboards here. One of my skateboards I've been working on, that's a bit of yew wood. And then I've got a layer of surfboards that I'm working on. These are all like, someone was filming me doing this, so I've not done much more because I want him to come back and finish filming. But we'll surf this once it's all finished. They're really hard to surf. And then this is pretty much wood that's to be turned into stuff. Anyone who starts making stuff, especially with wood, green wood, whatever, you find yourself at the end of the year having to get rid of a lot of wood because you have stuff that accumulates over time. This is a bit of yellow cedar that was blown down in that massive storm back in like the 80s.
Oh wow, that far back.
And that's what my tops are made out of. This is nice yellow cedar. But I've made loads out of this, loads and loads. And this is like the last bit I've got left. There's wood here to make paddles. There's some silver birch to make paddles and bows and stuff. There's lots of different woods down here. There's some yew. There's what's that one down there? Oh yeah, there's loads of yew and larch and cedars and all sorts. And then we go into paddles. These are paddles that I've made mainly. That was one that Kirsty bought me. That was like the first paddle Kirsty ever bought me. And then I've made these. So these, some I like, some are really old, and this is a really early one. That's why it's a really odd shape. This is blanks. That's what they look like before I start setting about them with an axe. If I make them out of a plank, that is, if I buy a plank in. If I make them out of a log, obviously I split the log. So that's what it looks like before you start. If you used to come and do a course, this is what I give you to work with. And then we'd work it all with hand tools, no machines on this at all. To get to this stage, normally, if I've got just one bit of wood and it's not that great, I'll just do it all with an axe until I get down to a nice bit. These are stretching boards for skins. There's loads of these different sizes knocking around the workshop. This one's for foxes. More paddles, a couple of bows, fins for surfboards. This is one of my favourite paddles. This is my one, and this is my little boy's one made out. This is red cedar. You can see it's got a little hole in it for the water to come through, and he loves watching the water come through. Another ash paddles are based on a Voyageur one. That was one. These are ones that are no good anymore. This was made for a film years ago. We've done some filming years ago, but I don't know if it ever got released. I lost contact with the guy, so I don't know if it was ever released. We went and done a canoe trip and cooked by the river, and then I carved the paddle. We snapped the paddle, and then we carved that and paddled out. So it was quite a nice little thing. That's another early one. That's a bit of cherry. I find cherry it's good for paddles, but you've really got to search for a straight bit, because I don't know if you can see what's happened here. See how bent that is?
Oh wow. Is that through the seasoning process?
See the grain? This was dry.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this was dry cherry, and because of the grain, it's pulled out. So with cherry, you've really got to go with a straight grain. Depends on also the cut, whereabouts in the tree it's from as well. But I think that had quite a big bend in it. But yeah, it's pulled right out. I could make it into a smaller paddle, but I quite like to leave it. Look at it, reminds me to look for proper bits of wood. My pack basket, use this for foraging and whatnot when we go down the beach, get some flint. This is my coat, like Voyageur coat. I traded this off of my mate Xander, who does amazing quill work. He sewed all this by hand, this blanket coat. Yeah, it's a really lovely one. So I got that the other day when we was at the rendezvous. My moccasins, can't live without moccasins. Keep your feet warm and dry. Me leggings, these are buckskin leggings that I made the other day, because I think it's important to understand clothing. If you're going to make this sort of stuff, I want to be able to wear this and know how it feels, how comfortable it is, how warm it is, how wear it well. How well it wears. So I made them, so I've been wearing them. Get some looks if you go down the supermarket in them, I tell you. Skulls of these are all deers that I've butchered, and it looks like a horrible trophy wall now I say that out loud. These are all deers that I've butchered and used every bit of the deer from. You can see on this one up here, this is a red deer that's been taken up with stone tools, took the brain out, and then used the brain to tan the hides. So all these deers have all been butchered. I've eaten all the meat, used all the sinew and most of the bones, and then the skulls go on the wall. Buzzard wings, that was a roadkill buzzard I found. Mink, that's really old, a nice water bottle. Shrimp baskets, I'm going to go and chuck that in the sea in the next couple of weeks, because all the prawns and shrimp start feeding now. All my tents up the top, it's all my canvas stuff that I make. All the green stuff that I don't use anymore. Books, these are some of the best books. There's some here that I don't read so much at the back here, and then some of these that are books that I would say to, I'm going to flick through them really quickly, right? You can read it, I'm not going to tell you the titles, you can read them. So these are all really good books. I met the guy who wrote this one, Graham Warren, I think his name was. Yeah, really good book that, man. And he'd done this one as well. Lovely fella. My mum bought that book when she was a really young girl, and she gave it to me for my 16th birthday, I think it was. Amazing book. This is a really good book, really rare. That's an amazing book, super referencey for me. Lots of pictures, love a picture. Archery's not great. It's all right, that's a good one. That's an amazing one. That's an amazing one. The guy who wrote this, Steve Alley. I've not spoken to Jim Ham, but Steve Alley's a legend. Really lovely fellow. If you need any information, just contact him. He's amazing. Wealth of knowledge. It's another one that he's done. These are really good books. They look pants, but but they're actually really good. These are more books here. These are all primitive and ancestral skills. There's 3 or 4 of them. And then it's just surf books and whatnot. This is a box of stuff I'm working on. God knows how long that could be there forever. There's lots of bits and bobs in there. Spoons and whatnot. Some nice horn stuff. Handles to things. More horn stuff. And then bits and bobs that I've been doing lately. So recently, in the last 3 months, the spider crabs have been in. So I live right on the seafront, so I go in the sea, I spearfish a lot, and I go and catch spider crabs. If you see on my Instagram, you'll probably see some pictures. And these are the shells. The shell is amazingly strong. It's really thick. And you can't think if I can get a section of this. So I make jewellery and stuff from them. These are little just pendants and earrings for me. But yeah, I make all these and put like nice little bits of silver ear hooks and whatnot on them. These are the crab toes. I don't know what to do with them yet. Or the claws, but I'm going to do something with them because they're really cool. And these are the leg sections. There's loads of meat in them, so I get all the meat out. And I think I'll make some sort of bead out of these. I'm making some sort of nice bead. Once they're all cleaned up, they'll be really nice. Some hats I made. I love a hat. My old man loved a hat. I love a hat. It's a Cockney way to wear a hat. And a good hat. This is something I've been working on. I'm not going to tell you about that actually. I'm going to do a video on that myself. Salmon skins I'm working on. Primitive fishing gear stuff. Bits and bobsies. Grinding stones. Fishing weights. Fishing bits and bobsies. Horsehair. That's for the primitive fishing courses we're going to be doing. So I'm going to be teaching how to make fishing line out of horsehair. Bits and bobsies. This is what I use for smashing all my plant fibres, so when I'm processing stinging nettles and brambles and whatnot, it's a really important tool. Another thing that just seems to be forgotten over here. You know,
is that a burl on the end of it, or
yeah,
what is that?
Well, a lot of time they'll use burrs, but this would have been the main trunk of the tree, and this was just a branch that came off. So it would have sat up there like that, and there's the trunk of the tree there like that, and that's just an off-coming branch. I've just cut it off, rounded it off, soaked it in oil, and it's an amazing tool for cracking shells and whatnot. You know, my boy uses it for nuts at Christmas. Flint knives. This is my pipe in there. Don't use that more. It's more for, you know, fancy gigs and stuff. That's the sparrowhawk wing that I use for fire lighting. It helps really gently waft the fire instead of when you're out of breath. More bits and bobs, trinkets. Nice fire lighting patch. That's iron parietes and flint with mink from the local area. That's brought to me by a pest control guy, because mink are illegal. If you catch them, you can't release them. Also, they're an invasive species and they're mutilating our wildlife. So I'm doing a favour by using that. This is a flint knife that my lovely Kirsty got me, made by Morton Couture. Geezer's a legend. That boy can nap flint. This thing's razor sharp as well. I use that occasionally. I've butchered a deal with it, but you shouldn't really do things like that with flint knives. But yeah, joking or not. Mocktoggans. This is me Mocktoggans. I'll just turn the light. Can you see them all right?
Yeah.
So these are just some tools I've made quickly. This is my elbow adze. These are all made out of old files, by the way. This is my elbow adze. Beautiful tool. I use that to carve bowls, big spoons and ladles and whatnot. This is a D-adze. A lot of people in England won't know what this is because you wouldn't have seen one before. This is a Northwest Coast style tool, and it's used like that or down. It's great for paddles, to cleaning up the edge of paddles. There's a variety of different shaped blades for this as well. Same with the elbow adze. Mocktoggans. These are fancy handles. I've just taken the blade off that because someone wanted the blade and not the handle. Well, I wouldn't sell the handle, it's a real fancy one. These are different style Mokotugans. We'll talk about them later. You can see the shape of the blade, the contour of the blade. These are all slightly different contours. They're all good blades. This one I cut both of my kids' umbilical cords with. This was one of the first ones I made. The handle's not very practical, to be honest, but it looks bloody great, huh?
And these are all, once again, you've made yourself. And
Yeah, these are all made out of old files. I found some information how to temper steel and stuff. This is my carving knife, which I dropped the other day and snapped the tip off, which I'm still a little bit upset about. I'll put that away, it's making me upset. Axes, different sorts of axes and axe heads. Loads of axes going on, more carving axes. A big suitcase of knives that I've made. Some I use, some I don't. These are a bit rusty because I don't use them. That's not tempered correctly. These I've not used for a while, so they're a bit rusty. And I live by the sea, and that happens really quickly down here. I do use these, just not that often. And I just give them a little lick up with the sandpaper and the emery paper, and they come up lovely. There's a box of all sorts in there, all knives mainly. More stuff I'm working on. And then we get to this is all my bows. Right, so all this top shelf is all bows. These are mainly sinew-backed bows, used sinew-backed bows or rawhide back bows. I love a short bow, I'm not into long bows. I find it, the idea of hunting with a long bow extremely odd. Why would you want to? I'm 6'4", that means my bow's got to be like 7 foot long. Why would I want a 7 foot pole to run around hunting with? So for me, bows are this long. That's a 45 pound draw weight bow. It's strung backwards at the moment because it's sinew backed. I'll string it for you if I can. These are monsters. So when I started making these, I contacted Steve Alley, who wrote that book, and he was really lovely. So I'm just warming it up a little bit. You can't just rush into this sort of thing. This has, oh Jesus Christ, the string needs to be reset. Yeah, look, and they've got to reset the string. Look. So the string's not reset, I need to retie this knot. When I first made one of these, I was amazed at how strong it was. Let me untie it at that end. We might have to come back to this one. I've got another one here as well, look. That's a shorter one.
And these are the different styles of arrows, isn't it?
Yeah, there's loads of arrows in here as well. Some of these people would have never seen before, I'd imagine. These are small game arrows, rabbits. That's one I'm working on, that's a spear one. That's a bird arrow. So you're not firing pointy sticks into the sky because that would be stupid. These are known as bird blunts. That's another bird blunt there. These are, a friend of mine made these. These are what you use on a longbow, but I use these for practicing because they've got metal points on them. That's a super sneaky, you know, that's a proper hunting arrow. I don't shoot that low, to be fair. This one is something I'm still developing, but this works, but I'm still developing this. This is a really old arrow known as a hydrofoil arrow or a skipping arrow. I can't find, well, I've only found very little information on it, to be honest. There's one paragraph, I think, in the Bowyer's Bible, and this, you fire this in front of a duck, so a couple of metres in front, and it skips along the floor. So it's an amazing, amazing design. And then these are like fish barbs and stuff, or small game barbs, and that's all in a roadkill fox. And that's my arm guard that you need when you're firing bows this small. See if I can string this up properly. When you're firing bows this small, you shoot differently, so you shoot upside down like that. So you need the arm guard because it really does. It will give you a real sore arm. While I'm doing this, I'll just talk you through some other stuff. This is a woodland bow. This is one of my favourite bows. Really thin little thing, 45 pound draw weight. A rawhide string, once again rawhide. Just gets forgotten about even here in England. These are all critters that have somehow come to their demise and ended up in my workshop. I've not killed them all by any means. I'm not some savage animal killer. Yeah, I mean that one looks like a dog or coyote. I don't know. Coyote's a bit too small for coyote, isn't it? This is fishing weights. Birch bark stuff. I've got a really nice pot here as well with this is my fishing gear. This is horsehair fishing line with a bone hook or bone barb on a wooden shank bound with cedar roots. This is what we'll be doing courses on when we do the primitive fishing, this stuff and some other sorts of hooks, but yeah, mainly this sort of business, and maybe some, where's the other one in here, I think, yeah, we'll be doing, I will run a course on these are black cod hooks and stuff, but this is, I mean, I'd be surprised if you caught a fish with this. There's not many fish big enough to take these now. You need to go to Norway and stuff. Long lines for fishing. I'm still waiting for the sea to calm down so I can use this. It was good quite recently, but I was away, so I didn't get the chance to use it. But there's like, I think 7 gorges on there, or gouges, and that'll be tied to them stone weights, to these ones. And then that'll be, these weights will be buried under more stones on the beach because that's not enough to hold it. But the hole in that was all made by hand. I don't know why I did that, just I needed to see how long it would take. So, and it took a very long time, so I went down the beach and got another one that already had an hole in it. What else we got here? So much stuff. Hat blocks, made of hat blocks. Paddle designs and stuff, different patterns and that. Paper. This is a mare's tail or horse's tail, sandpaper that. So I'll fold it all up, bind it with a bit of string, and then I'll use it as a really fine sandpaper. It's got a lot of silica in it, so it works as a sandpaper. Old clothes and my canvas, because that's my tent materials. That's the first fur I ever done, and it's painted with. It's actually quite badly tanned, to be honest. But it was a lot of work, and it was the middle of summer, and I'd never. It's about 10 years old now as well. A lot of the fur's fallen out of it, or broken off. But I painted it with some egg and egg yolk and charcoal, and it stayed in and it looks beautiful. I really like it. It's one of me. I love these patterns. I've always seen these patterns everywhere. Remind me of bird feet, or flying birds, like, you know. So that's on my canvas supply. Some paddles I'm working on, some Voyageur paddles I'm working on. More skins, water bottle, parfletches, boxes of bits and bobs, oils, beads and quills. Well, I don't need to tell you, that's all written on there. Look. This is a hand plane for surfing on water. If you want to be young and cool. My rawhide suitcase. I love this.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, cost me this old cow. Cost me like a £5 down a car boot. The stitching's gone on it when I bought it, so I'm just going to repair it. I was going to cut it up and make knife sheaths, and then I was like, actually, it's a really nice suitcase, I'm going to keep it. Buck skins, so a couple of different skins here, big ones, small ones. I'm not going to get them all out. Oh, soft, feel that. Lovely. These are brain cakes. You probably won't have heard of these. This is sphagnum moss, and I get the deer brain and I squish the deer brain into the moss, and then I dry it, and that way it lasts for ages. It doesn't rot. I can keep that indefinitely for a while, and then when I want to use it, I just plop that in warm water, squish all the lovely oils out, and then I can use it for tanning. And I just take all the moss out once the water goes a milky colour, and I know that's good enough for me to tan a hide in. So that's a way of storing brains without freezing, which would have been a traditional way of storing brains, because brains turn really quickly. Some mittens I made out of an old roadkill fox. Some furs I'm working on, parfletches, offcuts, all that gets turned into glue, gets all snipped up, turned into glue, so do all the scrapings. My beaver, my extra large beaver, rawhide under there, fish skin rawhide, different skins of different quality, so that's 80 grit and that's about 240 grit. That's all shavings of the hides of the buffalo hides and deer hides, so that boils down into glue. Bags I'm working on, fish skins, my bison rib bow drill for firelighting with rawhide, once again amazing stuff. Fish skins, shoes, felt shoes or socks, inner socks for moccasins. These have also got rawhide bases on them, so I can walk around in these. They're like my rawhide ballet shoes, my wife calls them. If only I could move like a ballet dancer when I was wearing them. Some sinew, some moccasins, rabbit skins, random skin, I can't figure out what that is, I found it down a car boot. Pots and whatnot, and that's about it really. Hold me fire hand drill with me squirrel, and this is all my hand drill stuff for firelighting. All my firelighting bits and bobs is in there, and then underneath I've got tubs and stuff. I have to keep stuff in plastic a lot of the time, which annoys me, but the plastic box is the only way to stop the insects from eating all the good stuff. So if you don't put it in plastic boxes and seal it all, when you come back from holiday and it's all gone. Not that I go on holiday much, but yeah, so, well, that's my workshop. I hope you enjoyed it. At least it was tidy when you came.
So there you have it, my friends. That is a wrap for this video where we did a very casual workshop tour around the abode where Steve works in every single day. Now, what this video also is a bit of a teaser, because a big part of my visit down today to see Steve is to talk about some future collaborations. This is something I know we mentioned in a previous video that we did, but what Steve is doing is working on a year-long syllabus where he's going to be taking on a group of students and teaching them every single month a variety of skills to bring it all together. And the whole part of it is to kind of touch on a lot of stuff that we show, from mocket organs to hides to a whole bunch of things. Or he also kind of teaches one-on-one as well as in groups throughout the year. It's kind of individual things that people want to learn. So what we're doing in this video is kind of just showing you a little bit of an insight into the myriad of things that Steve does. The one massive thing I respect about Steve, and have done for a very long time, is that he goes very deep into these skills. He doesn't kind of do a surface level thing. He goes very deep, and he does the whole gamut. So he tries to look at an item and tries to reverse engineer it, bringing in a variety of skills. So, like I said, this video that you're watching now is kind of a bit of a teaser in terms of collaborations and the series we're going to be working in the future. One thing I'm going to be doing is put a link below to the previous video that we did, where we looked at the setup that Steve has built predominantly by hand, that he uses when he goes out on trips. And that will also give you a much more detailed insight into the kind of things that Steve does. So I'm going to put a link to that video below if you haven't watched that. And what I'm also going to do is put a link below to Steve's website and his Instagram and his Facebook. The website is going to be updated now. There is a website on there with a lot of information, but he's going to be updating it with a lot of new things he's got going on over the coming weeks. But we'll put a link down to that also, should you want to check it out. And also I'm going to put a link below to his Instagram and Facebook where he's very active. And from there you can see a history of what he's done as well as the things he's doing currently. It's definitely worth giving him a follow. And obviously it's a great way of keeping in contact with him as well. If people have any questions or queries watching this video, is it okay if they contact you?
Yeah.
Via social media?
Yeah. Social media is great. Or the website, which I can never remember the address of. I'm sure you can make something work with modern technology here.
That's it.
Yeah. Social media or the website, email us or whatever. Just drop us a line if there's something you're interested in or something you wanted made or, just want to chat.
That's it. If you need a friendly shoulder to cry on. But Steve also, something I did mention in the previous video, Steve also does a lot of commissions. So as well as learning from him one-on-one or in group formats, he takes on a lot of commissions and he pretty much just makes anything you can imagine with a very unique flavour. So he's very, very skilled. So as well as kind of teaching it, he also does it himself as a practitioner every single day. So once again, links below to everything that we mentioned, including the previous video that we've done, and expect to see Steve in kind of future videos on this channel. And are there any parting words from your good self? Let's have a cup of tea. It's been
water and parched.
That's it. It's actually been the hottest day of the year so far here in the UK, the day that I've come down to see Steve. He lives in a beautiful location, literally on the coast. You can see the sea out there, and it's a really...
We've not been able to swim in it today.
Yeah, it's such a spectacular view, and it's actually going to be the view that I end the video on. So guys, I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, it's just more of a brief look because there's so much. We could literally have done a 5-hour video if we went into detail in terms of all the things that Steve's got going on in his workshop. But we just wanted a general look. This is also, for me as well, an opportunity to look around and see everything that Steve gets up to. So once again, I sincerely do appreciate you watching. All the links below to everything that I mentioned. And as always, guys, I hope whatever you're doing, you have a blessed week, a blessed day. And also from Steve to say and myself, Z Outdoors, peace out.
Cheers, nice one, guys.